Hey, what's up guys? Lindsey here. I just picked up Infidel #1 today, and the title is so catchy, I just had to pop on it. And, I don't think it's what you expect, but it's also exactly what you expect with a title like Infidel and a woman in a hijab on the front, but ooh, what's that spooky hand? So we get into it, and this is how your story called Infidel starts off. This is it. Once in college, I went away for spring break, accidentally leaving out 5 pounds of ground beef. Who cannot relate to that? I know when I'm packing, the night before, I go, you know what I want for breakfast? 5 pounds of meat, obviously, to get ready for spring break. Because I've been starving myself to have a beach bod. So right before I get to the beach, and my only sustenance is liquor, I'm just going to throw down solid 5 pounds of beef. But oh no, you can tell where this is going, right? Yeah, I came home to a mountain of gray meat. Swarms of ants and cockroaches. Yeah, how do you miss that? Where did you put it? You put it on, I imagine, the counter, right? So, or in the sink? And you just sort of forgot about it? Also, that gray meat, that's too real. Because I got Hardee's like a month ago. And I made the mistake of looking at the burger, and it was just straight up gray, and I was like, oh god, and then I finished it, and I didn't feel bad, biologically speaking, but psychologically, I was like, it's gonna be a while before I go back to Hardee's. So, she's having a nightmare, and she smells the rotted meat, and then we get this, which actually looks kind of cool. All I smell is rotting meat. And it's this splash page, and we see her in bed, and this creature, this great creature, but if you just look at his legs sort of look like gnarled trees. And that's really cool. But she freaks out, she breaks the glass, we get a good look at her homie here, and her eyes roll back in the head, and you find out that it is, of course, it was all a dream. But the main character keeps having dreams, they keep getting progressively worse, so she's having nightmares, and they all smell like rotted meat, which is not good. And we open up to, I'm gonna skip it because of that copyright god, but, we find out that our protagonist is living with her husband's grandma, or husband's mother, and she has a stepdaughter. And the main character's job is editing Star Wars cookbooks, which I don't want to say it's not a thing, because it's probably a thing, but come on, that's your division? You're not just cookbooks, but Star Wars cookbooks especially, so there's like 2 whole pages of a grandma being like, Star Wars, what? And it ends on, I'm just gonna read it. Yeah, this is where it was like, this is my oh boy moment. The grandma says, and as a thank you, why don't I finally teach you my baked ham recipe? And I was like, oh, Infidel, oh gosh, she can't have pork. She can't have it. She just can't. And, oh, look at that. Oh, gee. You know what, fun fact, I don't eat pork either. But it's not because I'm a Muslim. And she said, Tom is her husband, she's like, oh, it's his favorite. Sort of like, he can't have ham anymore because of your stupid religion. Oh, and like, look at the body languages. Just being about to say, oh, I don't eat ham. She just like completely closed herself off and just looks completely dour. She says it's Tom's favorite. She's like, oh, that settles it. I'm teaching you tonight. And it's like, unbelievable. You're like, well, is it? People forget. Is that a normal thing that people know? Do regular people just know that Muslims don't eat pork? And Tom's in here. Aisha's the only reason I was okay moving us here. Mom, what do you do? Try to manipulate her every chance you get. Tom, she forgot. Yeah, that's fine. People forget about stuff like that, and this guy's just fucking losing it. It's like, if you're living with your mom, I assume you're having some sort of financial whatever. No judging on my part. But this is like, don't be freaking out on her. And he's like hell. Pork is haram, Mom. You know that. You fucking know it's haram. See, I didn't know the word for it. It's not haram. But I do know the opposite of haram is halal, or I assume so because of the letters. Oh God, I really did forget. Yeah, the same way you always forget she's praying when you stumble into her room, right? Well, I mean, statistically, if you got a mom who stumbles into rooms and you gotta pray 5 times a day, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be some overlap there. You just gotta tell her to quit stumbling in or lock the damn door. So her husband freaks out, slams the door, and she's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, trust me, Leslie, not half as much as he's gonna be. I mean, I guess, yeah, you freaked out on your mom. Because she mentioned ham. Is it haram to even mention it by accident? So she's like, what the hell is that? He says, we've been living here 3 months and she suddenly forgets that you don't eat pork. She's a doctor. What? What the fuck does that even mean? Are all doctors required to have some sort of insane memory? I would hope they do. But I think a lot of doctors' processing power is with medical things. And she doesn't need to know about haram and halal and blah blah blah. She's like, it's okay, she forgot. And he's like, the looks you get from some of the people. It's like, what? No, you're not making it about that. So he's sort of he's more enraged. This is kind of like SJW today. He's angry for her. She's not that upset about it. But the white guy, he's real upset. He's like, how could you're being a bad Muslim because you're not getting crazy? So he tells her, like, don't trust my mom, which is so strange. And we cut to her friend here, and she just mentions, I thought you had to meet your architectural theory group, which, doesn't that sound made up? I'm sure it's real, because color theory and music theory, but architectural theory? It sounds like something George Costanza would make up, if you know what I'm saying. And then suddenly she's wearing a hijab. Now, if you remember, she ran outside without wearing the hijab. And I don't know if selective hijab wearing is a thing. She talks about how beautiful it is. Oh, it's just like the mosque. And apparently the grandma had a little bit of an incident with the granddaughter playing with the hijab. So the granddaughter's playing with hijab because, you know, kids, you can't keep them. You can't keep kids away from hijabs and headwear in general. Every kid is an entertainer. They don't know any better. Women who wear this let people get killed for drawing cartoons. They let men throw rocks at girls like you. Well, I mean, I don't imagine there are a bunch of little white girls running around in the Middle East. But I mean, stonings do happen, if you want to be for real, but I feel like Grandma might be taking it a little too far. Just about the cartoons thing, I don't think women were involved in that, but whatever. And then, her sassy friend. Apparently that happened years ago, so people can change. Yeah, but racism's a cancer that doesn't get cured. Oh, jeez. The best you get is remission. Is that how racism works? Are there some racists who are like, you know what? Today, I'm gonna go see Black Panther. But tomorrow, I'm back at it again. I can't. Sometimes I just need to have a day where I listen to a little bit of hip-hop, and then I go right back to country music. I'm just not feeling, you know, sometimes you feel a little off. I don't feel as racist today as yesterday, but then I'll get back on it. I'll get back on that racism horse. I feel like my racism has gone into remission. Oh, fuck. It's a cancer. Oh my. Ugh, people think like this. Somebody wrote this. And you find out that Aisha doesn't have a good relationship with her mom because she's marrying a white man, which, you know, feel like, yeah, this is getting into some real stuff. I feel like traditional Muslim moms ain't about that. I don't know what the Muslim equivalent is. It kafir? I've watched several documentaries on Muslims, but I know that the Jewish version of it is Gentile. So I don't know. I think kafir might be the Muslim version. But she's saying, like, this is some moderate Muslim type stuff. This is like some real stuff here. She's saying it doesn't matter how much I perform dua or salat, keep the fast every Ramadan, me being engaged to a non-Muslim That makes me not Muslim enough. That makes me not her daughter. This feels like some real life consequences, you know, of moderate Muslims with traditional parents or whatever. And her friend says, come on, she went ballistic when you stopped wearing a veil too, but eventually, well, then why is she wearing the veil? You don't go backwards with the veil. Once you can't renege on the veil. Once you stop wearing the hijab, that's it. And then think of how much free money you had, because if you're a girl, well, a girl's the only one wearing hijabs. You gotta be having at least like 15 hijabs. So then imagine you got all that free money from not wearing hijabs. And then listen to this preposterous shit. Okay. Remember when I got my scholarship upstate? Doesn't that sound like a euphemism for jail? Getting sent upstate? My scholarship upstate? A brown Muslim at a white college in the boonies. Okay. Alright, so it's not preposterous because they gave her a scholarship. To her, it was like enrolling into the hate crime Olympics. She actually forbade me to go. What is that? Hate crime Olympics? Who are the athletes in that scenario? Is it just white people beating the shit out of minorities? Or is it minorities trying to survive? Only the strongest and most agile of white races. What does that mean? Welcome to Hate Crime Olympics. We have a lot of former track athletes who did the discus, and if you know, cracking a whip uses the same motion and the same muscles. So we've got the finest white track athletes available to crack whips at darkies as they run the 500. Let's go. Welcome to the Hate Crime Olympics. Like, what the fuck? What is this? This is like words strewn together. And then you find out, I gotta skip this, but you find out in there, the reason why the apartment building has bad juju is because there was a mass murder there. So Aisha goes upstairs and then she thinks she sees something, but she freaks out. But then Tom is there. Yeah, so she freaks out and Tom's like, what's going on? And she's just like, what was that? And he wants to be like, Aisha, you're not being outraged enough. What's going on? Why are you not being outraged at my mom forgetting that you don't eat pork? Bleh. It's like, who gives a shit? He's like, your dreams are getting worse. Half a dozen people have died here. Maybe, but you know what they also mentioned? That the rent's cheaper. I would live in a place where somebody got murdered. Especially if it's cheaper. I have something to talk about every time someone new comes in. And this is where the murder rape happened. And I suspect that behind all these freshly coated walls are pentagrams. Just dozens and dozens of pentagrams everywhere. But it only cost me $200 to live here, so I can deal with that shit. And so then Tom has his big reveal. Because I went through her emails, okay? Espionage. Like, oh, Tom, how dare you go through your mother's emails? What a monster you are. Also, I say that way, but it is an invasion of privacy. She asked her lawyer if there were any grounds she could take custody of Chris. There aren't, but she checked. What is she? My daughter-in-law. So how can I take my granddaughter away who's not even biologically hers? What are the steps I take? Kill the daughter-in-law? May have to go that. How long ago? 2 weeks after we moved in. Oh, so it's almost over a month. Is that enough time for your racism to go into remission? Ugh, it's just, and then they just sort of squabble about that, and then we see a scene of the grandma on the train, and you see a black guy, but not just any black guy, a black guy with a bow tie, which is the international sign for, I am a Muslim, when it comes to black guys. Isn't that kind of sad that every black guy, he knows if he wears a bow tie, everyone's just going to assume he's a Muslim, and it's like, ugh, do I want to even be mistaken for being a Muslim today? What day is it? September 10th, you know, and I'm gonna shelve the bow ties for a while. And you see that Aisha the power goes out, it seems, so she starts skulking around with a phone, and then we cut to her sassy friend at the store, and then we start getting into some shit here. Got this lovely trio. Who's that? Who's that supposed to be, possibly? Liberals can't wait to play the extremism card, and then somebody defaced a $10 bill. Someone mugs a black woman. Hate crime. I remember in, like, 9th grade, in, like, a civics class, we read this thing by Ted Nugent about hate crimes, and it was basically, the gist of it was, it doesn't matter why someone commits a crime, it just matters what the crime is. And I agree with that, but I also understand that it's good to know the nature of the crime, so I don't know how I really feel about the moniker of hate crime, but I don't know, I feel like most people haven't read a thing by Ted Nugent in school. So this guy's like, hold on, what about the bombing of that building on the Lower East Side? Diane, what about that? Yeah, what about that shit, Diane? What do you got to say? Do you even have eyeballs, Diane? Law enforcement verified it was a lone wolf. But because that bomber at one point checked an ISIS website, you know what? Check my email, check my Facebook, check my Instagram, check an ISIS website. Those are all the things I do when I wake up in the morning. What's the big fucking deal? You're telling me because I check in on ISIS, see how they're doing, see what's up, see if I need to be worried about today, I'm going to be labeled? Oh, look, we're getting name-checked again. Now, this is a little, I don't know what that's about, because he's saying that he checked an ISIS website, and I would venture to guess most people aren't doing that unless they're interested or very terrified of it. So it's like, yeah, I wonder who would be checking an ISIS website. Who could it be? A person who has zero connection with ISIS at all, or someone who has a little bit more common ground with ISIS than, say, just a normal non-religious person. So then her husband's like, hey, I'm going out of town. I need you to watch my wife because people are afraid of her because she's a Muslim. He says on this page over here, she's a Muslim woman living in a building. Right. Muslim women. It's hard enough to get them into a building, and then you gotta deal with all these damn crackers in the building, I don't even think I showed it, no, but there's like a scene where she waves at a guy, and he doesn't wave back. Truly, she is oppressed. So Aisha's skulking around with her phone, she's like, I think the power went out, and then we see this, which is, holy shit, what is going on here? Looks like a gentleman from the 1800s, and he's saying, like, whore, bitch, cunt. Ooh, those are the big guns right there, cunt. And then it's his dick, and he's just like this ghostly figure. And he's calling her a towelhead, which I don't think the insult towelhead existed in the 1800s, and she's not even wearing a hijab right now. A mongrel, a bitch cunt, head slut. Those fucking head sluts. So she starts freaking out because this thing is coming after her and his eyeball is going down and he has a ghost mustache, and it's just like, what? And then something happens with the grandma, and you know what, it's not very good at all. But then let's go to the letters. Let's go. This is, it's not what you expected, but it also is, you know what I'm saying? But I expected the main character, the protagonist, Aisha, to be more like Tom, her husband. That white knighting shit. Ugh. So we get, who is the writer? What is this? Why is there no... Oh, I guess... Picheshote? Campbell? I would say that's not even fucking close at all. But... Oh, God, it's just like so much crap. Okay. The desire to have a horseshoe that felt more like the world outside my window and resembled the people I spend time with. People of different colors, ethnicities, and faiths. Yeah, you don't see them as people, you just see them as all the things they are. Ugh. where all those different backgrounds aren't just dressing, but actually important to the turns of the story. Okay, as far as I can tell, it's just a ghost story with a racist ghost. What is it? Okay, and then down here he says, because certainly since the book has been announced, enough people have commented that it feels like we're living in a horror story nowadays. Oh, snap, yes. Like, you know how there's like a group of people who make videotapes of beheadings? That seems like some horror story shit. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what we're talking about? Let's see. And with each new headline of xenophobia and hatred. What? When my worst fears laid bare on the page. What? No. This guy is saying that the worst, the most horror-like thing we experience today is xenophobia and hatred. I don't think that's the worst. I'm sorry, guys, I don't think it's the worst. I think the worst thing is the free speech stuff and, you know, bombings. Is that a little too blunt? I would not, like, racism is bad, but you know what hurts more than racism? Fucking ball bearings. Like, what? This is just a ghost story with, then every, like, other page, they're like, hey, Muslim shit, right? Am I right, guys? Alright, guys, have a good one. Don't forget to subscribe.